Okay, let's just pause and imagine something a little crazy for a second. Imagine that right now, before you could even click play to watch this explainer, you actually had to pull out your physical passport, snap a photo of it, and upload it to a random server. Or, maybe scan your driver's license. Would you really be comfortable handing over your actual government-issued identification just to access everyday information? Well, for millions of people around the world, this isn't some dystopian hypothetical anymore. It is rapidly becoming the law.
Welcome to this explainer on what's essentially the end of the anonymous internet. Right now, we're seeing this massive, totally well-intentioned global push to protect kids online. Governments everywhere are stepping in, making age verification absolutely mandatory if you want to access websites, social media, or even gaming services. But, as we're going to see today, this push is fundamentally threatening anonymous internet access across the board. It's forcing millions of everyday adults to tie their real-world identities to their digital footprints. So, today we're going to break down exactly what's happening, why it matters for your privacy, and explore whether there's actually a better way to handle the whole shebang.
Section 1, the 2026 Internet Reality.
Now, you might be thinking this is just an isolated thing, but it's really not. It is a highly synchronized global movement. In the US, this really picked up steam back in 2022 with Louisiana. They passed a law requiring age verification on websites that hosted more than 33% adult content. But watch how fast this idea spread like wildfire. By 2025, the US Supreme Court was already upholding aspects of these state laws, something privacy advocates warned was a highly dangerous precedent for online rights. Then, boom, we hit 2026. The EU rolls out eIDAS, mandating member states to offer a digital identity wallet, while Australia enacts its online privacy code for gaming and social media. And looking just a bit ahead to 2027, California is set to enact a sweeping digital age verification law. So what starts as a super narrow rule to protect kids quickly balloons into these massive sweeping global mandates across the US, the EU, and Australia.
And this brings us to a major warning. The ACLU, joined by over 80 other organizations and experts, has been incredibly blunt about this. They state that these systems don't just verify age, they literally create a surveillance infrastructure that can track everything you do online. The fear is that what begins purely as child protection can quickly morph into a broad, inescapable surveillance network. Soon, you aren't just verifying your age for adult content. You're verifying it for social media, gaming, reading the news, you name it.
Section 2. How verification actually works.
Let's break down the real mechanics here. Websites are basically using 3 primary methods to check your age right now, and honestly, each one comes with some pretty serious vulnerabilities. Method 1 is uploading your government ID. You take a photo of your passport and send it to a third-party service. Sure, the website itself might not see your ID, but that verification company definitely does. And that creates these massive third-party databases linking your exact identity to your entire browsing history. Method 2 is AI facial estimation. You literally look into your camera and an AI guesses how old you are. The problem? These systems are notoriously inaccurate, especially across different skin tones and genders. And worse, your biometric data is now floating around in some database. Finally, Method 3 relies on government wallets. Like the European eIDAS model we mentioned, you just tap a government app on your phone to prove your age. Sounds incredibly convenient, right? But it actively connects your government identity directly to every single online service you use, leaving a massive, centralized digital trail.
Which brings us to the fundamental tension of this entire explainer. These systems are basically backing users into a highly dangerous corner. You're being asked to make a massive trade-off. Sacrifice your privacy and reveal your actual identity just to prove one tiny data point, your age. You're giving up your anonymity just to participate in the modern internet. So the real question is, can we verify someone's age without knowing exactly who they are?
Section 3. The safety versus privacy debate.
Let's look at this impartially, because honestly, both sides have incredibly valid points, and neither side is ignoring reality here. The case for these laws is definitely strong. The internet can be a dangerous place. We're seeing rising rates of teen depression, predators hiding on anonymous platforms, and really extreme content reaching younger kids. Proponents argue, quite logically, that we already verify age in the physical world. I mean, you can't just walk into a casino or buy alcohol without showing an ID, so why should the internet be any different? It holds platforms accountable and gives parents much-needed peace of mind. But on the flip side, the case against this is equally compelling. Mandating ID uploads creates these massive centralized databases that are basically just huge hacker honeypots. If your ID is stored everywhere, it's only a matter of time before it gets breached. It also severely chills free speech for whistleblowers, political activists, or domestic abuse survivors who absolutely rely on remaining anonymous. Furthermore, critics point out it doesn't even really work against determined kids who just use VPNs, and it creates a very real slippery slope toward total, absolute surveillance.
Section 4. Better ways to verify. Okay, so is there a middle ground? Yes. A privacy-preserving alternative that's actively being developed right now relies on something called zero-knowledge proofs. To put that into perspective, think of it kind of like a bouncer at a club. Instead of handing that bouncer your actual driver's license with your full name, your exact home address, and your birth date printed right on it, a zero-knowledge proof is like showing the bouncer a cryptographic card that simply says, over 18. Yes. It mathematically proves a statement without revealing absolutely any other personal information about you whatsoever.
So, how does this actually look in practice? Well, first we have device-based verification. This is where your phone verifies your identity locally, just once, and then it cryptographically confirms your age to websites without ever sharing who you are. And actually, California's new law is starting to incorporate some of this very thinking. Then we have age verification brokers. These are independent third parties that verify your age and then hand out completely anonymous tokens to websites. So the broker knows who you are, but they have no idea what websites you visit, and the website knows you're old enough, but they have zero clue who you actually are. This proves that the technology to protect both our kids and our privacy already exists today. It's just a matter of lawmakers choosing to mandate it.
Section 5. What you can do.
All right, so what can you actually do about all this right now? Here are a few actionable takeaways to protect your data. First off, pay attention. These laws often pass very quietly under the radar, so make sure to follow organizations like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the ACLU, and privacy guides. Second, use the tools available to you. Utilize VPNs to access the global internet safely, use privacy-focused browsers, and set up email aliases to avoid building a complete unified profile of your online activity. Third, speak up. Write to your representatives and attend public hearings. The reality is, the folks who truly understand these tech risks are often vastly outnumbered by the general public. And fourth, demand better. Next time you hit an age gate online, ask the company if they use zero-knowledge proofs. We have to start demanding open-source data minimizing solutions from the platforms we use every day.
And this all really culminates in a massive campaign recently launched by the European Citizens Initiative. They've been gathering signatures under a pretty clear banner: Stop Killing the Internet, No Digital ID, and No Age Verification. It perfectly highlights that age verification is really just the most visible battlefront in a much, much larger global war over digital freedom, anonymity, and identity. We are talking about thousands of small decisions being made right now in legislatures and boardrooms that are completely reshaping the open web as we know it.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to ponder. Is the trade-off between safety and privacy worth it? Are you personally willing to normalize a world where simply accessing the internet requires proving who you are to the government, all in the name of safety? The crazy thing is, the technology absolutely exists to have both, but only if we demand it. I highly encourage you to keep exploring this topic because how we answer this question today is going to define the very fabric of the internet for the next decade. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay informed out there, and I'll catch you next time.